So Donald Trump won the election, and it means nothing in the greater scheme of
It
things.
means absolutely nothing.
I'm sorry, but to people in America, I'm sure that it means a lot, allegedly. But to people outside of America, this is the world of BRICS now. Nobody cares about Donald Trump
Nobody.
because the Kazan manifesto, it was the BRICS summit, and it was in Kazan, Russia. And it was majority of the world's population represented at BRICS. And you know how Bibi was holding up that map talking about the new Middle East and he wants a railway. He was on his like Cecil John Rhodes bullshit. But the funny thing is that BRICS is already doing that. And they're not just doing some small little railway from India to the Middle East. They're doing it from India to Southeast Asia. You know, Africa, South America, everybody's involved in this. So nobody cares about Donald Trump. Although we can talk about what it means for Americans, I suppose.
Like, so you've been like, I don't know, like a lot of what you've been feeling from what I've gauged is that you are being showered with liberal tears.
Yeah, they're crying a lot. And it's so weird to watch liberals. Now they've like completely turned and they're talking about any Latinos that voted for Trump, they're going to deport their family members. They're done with the LGBTQ community. They hope Gaza gets flattened. They have basically said, now that Trump has won, I hope that he does everything that we never wanted him to do, that we were trying to vote against, which is just the epitome of liberalism at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And people are so confused by why Trump won the election. But to me, it's like, it's pretty simple, you know, political spectrum stuff where in 2008, neoliberalism very clearly failed with the financial crisis. And there
What's
was a
neoliberalism?
neoliberalism. It's like, I don't know how to explain it in normal people words, but it's like, nah, I can't explain it in normal people words. But basically, like Bretton Woods, you know, free trade, open markets, no government, as little government intervention in the markets as possible, etc., which doesn't exactly make sense since Nancy Pelosi has stocks in arms manufacturers and she increased those stocks just before the 7th of October. Isn't that suspicious? One thing about Donald Trump, he doesn't have a lot of stocks in arms manufacturers. He has almost no stocks in arms manufacturers.
Can I must I
Anti-war candidate.
Do you want me to press the button?
No, don't press the button. But yeah, so like people are so confused by why he won, but it's essentially neoliberalism failing in 2008 with the financial crisis, and then you see the rise of left-wing populism and right-wing populism with the Bernie Sanders campaign and also the Trump campaign of 2016, and then with the Bernie Sanders version of leftism not just squashed with his campaign being squashed, but also just pushed out of the Democratic Party entirely. There was this like attempt after Trump was elected the first time to have some kind of progressive politics, but it was very much a response to Trump, not anything serious or tangible. And the like it's just the working class. At the end of the day, the working class chooses the election. And when Bernie Sanders and his campaign and his version of left-wing politics was pushed out, there's only one way for people to swing and for people to move to, and that was towards right-wing populism. And if right-wing populism continues to go unchecked and there's no leftism pulling it back to the center, it becomes fascism. And that's what we have now, fascism.
Are you tired of democracy? I'm just like gauging based on your the fatigue with which you are explaining this.
It's not necessarily fatigue of democracy, although I think it is stupid and we should give that up sometime soon. But I'm fatigued with American hegemony.
Yeah.
Because we keep, first of all, like this sphere of influence has completely and entirely collapsed. Nobody cares about America's like soft power anymore. Nobody wants to become American. The American accent has become irritating to the rest of the world.
Irritating.
Nobody's like watching Top Gun and wanting to eat McDonald's and go to Hollywood and cuck. Everybody just knows
Yeah,
now
Americans
that
have like no cultural capital.
yeah, you know that if you're going to Hollywood, you're gonna see a whole lot of homeless people. You don't want the idea of America has shifted so greatly, and on top of it, they've exported their political violence to the entirety of the world. At this point, almost everyone in the global south knows what it's like to be subjugated and oppressed and occupied by the United States, if not that, then bombed by the United States and experiencing a regime change or the entire collapse of your country. So there's no love for America in the third world any longer, and the fatigue is from that. I'm tired of them specifically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For as the representative of normal people, hegemony.
Hegemony is like singular power, authority over a structure.
Alright. So what do you think? Like, what is the response been to Jill Stein?
She got 4% of the vote, which was pretty dead. It's pretty good. 4% was significant, but
That is significant. Like with, especially like, I don't know if like genocide is even the main cause as to why people didn't vote for.
nah, I think it was
Come on,
15
you
million.
think so?
15 million people didn't vote, so that's a lot. That's
Okay,
a lot of
that's-
people.
Yeah.
The same amount of people voted for Trump in 2020 with the Trump versus Biden election. The same amount of people voted for Trump this time. I mean, that same base voted for him. So everyone that voted for Trump the last time voted for him this time. And then there was also like, I think an additional like 7 million votes. So there was a movement towards him, but there were also 15 million people who didn't vote at all.
Like I don't know. Like it could just be myself, and like I can see why what you're saying is true. I just, in terms of a character, Harris was a bit cringe.
Yeah, she was Brownie Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
What must
she
you do
wa-
with that?
she was
What must you do with
nothing.
Brownie Hillary Clinton?
Like she. Anyway,
And I
that's
think
all.
I think at this stage of American politics, like they do require an authoritarian, strong man kind of leader. That's what their country looks for. At this stage where the empire is collapsing, the only thing that makes sense at this point is fascism. It's kind of the movement of a collapsing empire.
Yeah.
And it's funny to me that like Americans don't see this happening. Even some commentators have spoken about the fact that this empire is collapsing, the empire that they exist in is collapsing, but they don't consider that as being the greater cause for anything that happens. They don't understand why, like in the greater scheme of things, fascism would begin to rise during this period. And I don't understand how, because Mussolini, it's almost the exact same thing. There was no actual policies. It was all just based on ideology. The myth of the nation, fascism as the idea of whatever furthers the greatness of the nation. That was what Mussolini said. And Trump is on some make America great again. And I don't know how people don't like connect those two things and see that this is what happens when a nation is weak. The only thing that you can do is to say, no, actually the nation is strong. The nation is destined for greatness. And in order for you, and on an individual level, to be great, you have to believe in the greatness of the nation. And your greatness is shared in the greatness of the nation. If the nation is great, then you're great. It's stupid circular logic, but that's fascism.
I don't know. I feel like this, like politics is just talking to make people feel good.
Yeah,
At this
pretty
point.
much.
It's not a real thing then.
Yeah. And I think the American...
Particularly American politics. It's just,
Yeah.
it's wrestling.
They're also just like a very propagandized people.
Yeah.
And not a politically aware, or not a politically...
Well, like, if you ask anyone who the most arrogant people on earth are,
Yeah.
it's like when you have that level of arrogance, you are like a prime victim for
Yeah.
being fooled.
One of the biggest contrasts for American politics versus like our politics, for example, is the trade unions in America. They will debate whether or not they should endorse Trump or endorse Kamala Harris. Whereas in South Africa, our trade unions are,
like issue focused.
yeah, and extremely left wing progressive. Not in the sense of like, oh, we want the Democrats to win, but in the sense where they're like full blown communists.
Yeah.
Like, if you go to any of those protests, the men are wearing the quietest t-shirts I've ever seen. It's Steve Biko, it's Chris Hani,
Yeah.
It's like, give back the land.
I think, can we not give America any more time?
This is my thing. Like, I just don't think they are important. People keep saying, like, Trump is going to be even worse for Palestine. I don't know. And I don't know how, like, what's worse than a genocide, personally. Like, I don't understand what's worse than we've already seen.
Yeah.
He's going to give them more than what they've already gotten? What's more than they've already gotten? They've gotten like extra 2 to 8 billion every second week. They've destroyed the entirety of Gaza.
It actually would be ultimately detrimental to the
They've
US.
expanded to Lebanon. 45 days into this ground invasion, still haven't taken a single village. Now they are expanding to Syria. They're bombing Damascus regularly. They bombed Yemen like 5 times today. They've bombed Iran. They're in the midst of a regional war.
Do you think like earlier I saw this thing, the Saudi crown prince also being like condemning Israel?
Yeah.
Are they like? Do you think countries are getting to the point where they're like, okay, nah, bro, this is ridiculous now. Like,
Yeah.
not necessarily like like either like you guys are so bad at committing genocide, like you guys are like you're so cack, bro. Like even handling this.
It's unsustainable.
Yeah.
From whichever
Like
way you're looking at it, it's unsustainable.
Like they are such a weak people.
Yeah,
the
on a moral
Israelis.
level, it's unsustainable. Economically, militarily, it's all unsustainable. And I think from the Saudi perspective specifically, they've been like cozying up to BRICS as well. And now they, doing drills with Iran and stuff. They're doing military drills with Iran. So they recognize that the balance of power is shifting away from the West and towards the global South, and this like new, rise of the East business. And so I think the smart thing to do for any rising nation is to divest from Western hegemony and move towards BRICS. BRICS. But yeah, like people keep saying Trump, he moved the embassy to Jerusalem. I said that's not as bad as a genocide. I don't know what you're talking about. An embassy versus a genocide, I couldn't care. Like, I don't care. I know he's bad. I know he's horrible. He's a misogynist, racist, all of the things. Yeah, but he's also a representation of the American public at this point. And I think it's time for America to kind of like reckon with who they are. And they also, what frustrates me about them, what like really, really irritates me about liberals is that they don't notice that there's a fire until the flames engulf them. They didn't notice when any other marginalized group was getting destroyed in their country. They didn't notice when slavery was in the Constitution, when there was police brutality. They didn't notice any of this. It's only when white women got to put on the pussy hats and got to put on the Handmaid's Tale outfits that they were like, oh my God, my individual liberties. Nobody cares at this point. White girls, like, it's too late. It's too late. Maybe we got democracy in 94. And now that was now obviously the biggest thing that we needed to get, rights, equal rights. And then after that, we decided whether or not abortion was going to become legal.
Yeah.
It was after 94 because that's not like first in the hierarchy of needs. The first thing to get is just equality.
Yeah.
They haven't even gotten there. Their constitution, it literally says slavery is suspended or whatever, except if someone commits a crime. That's why Kamala Harris, she wouldn't allow prisoners who were supposed to go on parole, she wouldn't allow them to go on parole because she needed people to fight California wildfires for $1 an hour. She was a slaver. She was a black slaver. And people, like, I was watching CNN just after the election, and they were like, yeah, Kamala Harris, she just can't do what she wants because she's a black woman. She can't get away with half the things that Trump gets away with. I said, she got away with a genocide. What are you talking about? She's a cop. She was a prosecutor. She got away with a whole lot. You didn't even bring up ACAB, defund the police, none of that. None of that was brought up, despite the fact that people were burning down Target in 2020. How did this happen? How did we... It's just not making sense. Remember how Trevor Noah was like, yeah, no, you have to burn down a Target sometimes because, you know, they're killing black people in the road. Yeah, you must. But then all of a sudden, now it's vote for Kamala. How? How did that happen in the liberal mind? It could only have happened if people didn't actually care about equality and progressive values and the rights of marginalized groups. They didn't care about it. What they did care about was seeming progressive because that was what was in at the moment. Now it's not that important.
Oh, it's like when big companies do outreach.
Yeah. It was very... You know what Kamala Harris is to me? She is the non-executive CEO. Do you know what I mean? Like, she got hired for BE quotas. She's just there in the boardroom to smile, to be on the, you know, the front page of the website. But
I think she's like Shell, the garage, doing like a green program.
Yeah.
like a sustainability program.
Very that. She is meant to be a manager at Woolworths. That is her destiny. She needs to be like middle management. Nah, she's a BJ. Like, she's a full-under BJ. She needs to have control over other brown people, but her manager must still be a white man named Craig. And she must try her best to make Craig proud of her. You know what I mean? Like, she's never taking leave days. She's never sick because she needs to make Craig proud. Like, that's that's brown Hillary Clinton. That's just the vibe she gives off.
Oh no.
Like, her name should be Debbie, you know?
It can also be Debbie.
But yeah, you get what you get. I'm sorry about it, but you also can't expect the world to like feel bad about what's happened. Like, I feel bad about the marginalized people in America that have suffered and have been suffering. I mean, you have Native Americans living on reserves, and you out there talking about abortion rights. You got your people living in a Bantustan, and you're talking about abortion rights. And oh my God, it's a war against women. That's what fucking Billie Eilish was tweeting.
Yeah, this is...
No, these people are sick, yo.
Yeah.
They need to get what they get. I'm sorry about it. You can't export political violence to the entirety of the world, regime change, bomb countries to absolutely nothing, and then be confused as to why violence is coming home in the form of white boys shooting up schools and people making like multiple attempts of like assassination attempts on your president and shit. That's what's gonna happen. That's what's gonna happen when you normalize political violence to this extent.
Yeah, also the way like Kamala ended up in this thing was like, even prior people were like, this race is so boring when it was Joe Biden. I was like, Bryce, this is like a real complaint.
But if you watch like CNN, they treat it like it's sports.
It's literally the same as sports.
Yeah. It's like a wrestling match for them, genuinely.
Like, sport commentators commentate on politics. They like
it's strange. It's
like
so weird.
Stephen A. Smith, the head brow of ESPN, also does like politics talk. Like,
what's happening? What's happening with him?
Anyway,
I mean, in South Africa, after the massacre of Marikana, the ANC lost their majority in parliament because people were like, no. And no, I'm not talking about middle class, you know, the 2% of our country. I'm talking about like majority of our country said, nah, I'm in the working class. I'm not voting for this. And they lost their majority. Meantime, the Democrats can do a genocide and people are like, no, but what about, you know, you can get a small business loan from Kamala Harris. Don't you want that?
It's just reflective of them as a bit. Like, just imagine like Robert Marawa of Supersport doing like politics commentary. But I mean, like, it is
They must get
reflective
the
of them.
bra from like E that talks about.
The advert guy.
Nah, the
too.
bra that talks about like Anaconda coming on again.
Anaconda.
Yeah, they need to get that
Nah,
bra.
it's a shame. Look, overall,
Instead of Van Jones.
to summarize, you essentially just saying hearties.
Hearties. I'm sorry about it, but hearties. You get what you get and you don't get upset.
Yeah, yo, that rhymed. Well done. So some other big things that happened.
Yeah.
Some Israelis got the snot stomped out of them.
Yeah. The
in
Netherlands has joined the axis of
Stomp
resistance.
them in the nuts. Yeah, they like, yo,
They got beat down.
they got the beats, man.
People are getting so touched about it. Everyone's like, oh, it was a pogrom. It's the worst thing. Everything cannot be the worst thing since the Holocaust. Please, can we just respect the
Yeah.
Holocaust? Can we? Can we try?
Yeah.
Can we try to just respect
Yo, but
the tragedy of the Holocaust and not use it as a political weapon every single time?
but it's so cathartic to like to
No, it was
see,
wonderful.
to see them like get.
Did you
walked
see the
down,
video of them being like, "Save free Palestine"?
Yo, oh my god, it's beautiful. Oh, it was so good.
lovely. That was really lovely.
Walk them down. Yo.
No, I loved it.
No, it was beautiful.
And what was crazy was that those IDF soldiers, a lot
That's
of them
your
were
soldiers.
a lot of them were IDF soldiers,
Nah,
and they got beat. But
nah.
this is the thing, like if you don't have, aerial support, if you can't call the F-35s to come take out the whole apartment building, the whole apartment block, then how are you gonna win? You can't. You don't know how.
That can't be your soldiers, bro.
Yeah, if you don't have a tank to, bulldoze over women and children, how are you gonna win?
Well, like they don't have any like mana or like inner. Like they're not stick. It's,
Nah.
like
Nah.
what? That
Nah.
can't be your soldiers, bro. Like,
Just think about like back in primary school when you got into fights with, like
Yeah.
stupid fights,
Yeah.
The person who was angry just purely for the sake of anger, they were just angry because they're angry, they always lost the fight. It was the
Yeah.
people who were like, nah, I'm fighting for a reason. I'm fighting because you stole my eraser.
Yeah.
You bitch. Like,
Your name.
you stole my favorite eraser. It was the smelly one. The one that smelled like strawberry. You stole it.
And it was green. Nah.
Ah, wait. And then people would fight over stuff like that. And if you have a reason to fight, you fight
Yeah.
harder.
True. I think look, the reason is made up also.
Yeah, fully.
So I just like it's this weird thing because like basically these football fans of this team from Israel were chanting a bunch of Nuata,
Yeah.
like anti-Muslim, anti-Palestine,
Anti-Arab.
stuff.
They were
blah,
shouting
blah,
like, kill all the
kill all the
Arabs.
Arabs.
We'll rape your women
And
and
then-
drink your blood.
Yeah, like the typical Israel people stuff.
I can't believe that's typical.
That's
I mean, I can, but it's so nauseating. Why did it
It's
have
like,
to be this way?
and then some people from Amsterdam, like they're saying it's like Ajax football fans, but basically they stomped them
Yeah.
and like they gave them the beats, and now
Yeah.
all the Zionists are crying
Yeah.
and saying that Ajax and Amsterdam is anti-Semitic, and
Imagine Jan van Riebeeck right now.
yeah.
Imagine how he's feeling about the Dutch East India Company. The
on a-
colonizers are now mooring the other colonizers, and I love that.
Like, look, on a weird note, I just tried to, or you saw, like, I tried to search for the highlights of that game. And,
Yeah.
like, they took it down.
Yeah.
So
Because it's anti-Semitic to see Israelis lose in any way. It's so
I
anti-Semitic.
can 100%, like that doesn't feel far off from something they'd say. Like,
It's so ridiculous. And this constant, conflation of anti-Zionism and anti-Semitism. If you are saying anything bad about Israel, then you also mean everything about Jews. Nah. And can I just say, this idea that you can't fight back against these nerds is ridiculous.
Yeah.
You cannot, if someone is coming into your country and singing genocidal chants about how they want to kill all the Arabs, what do you expect is going to happen? You're going to get in your chops. Like, do you remember that video from like a few months ago of this white bra calling a black bra the K word the whole time, and then the black bra just turns around and donors him?
What about yeah, look.
That's how it goes. That's how it goes.
And I also think like no teacher likes the child that's like always crying about everything.
Yeah.
And they're not really being bullied. They're actually the problem.
And the thing that like frustrates me a lot is people talking about you mustn't justify violence. Violence is never okay. So then how are you going to stop violence?
Yeah.
It's just stupid, you know? Like,
The full-time stupidity.
isn't this one of the laws of physics?
No.
One of the laws of motion when an immovable object... I don't know.
Yeah, you doped physics.
I didn't even do physics.
It's the same as doping.
But the thing is, like, you need to have a stronger force to stop another force, don't you?
Yeah, I just didn't get high enough marks for physics to give you the answer to that.
Yeah, it's fine.
F equals MA.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I know that
so something else like kind of ridiculous happened. There's this like Instagram influencer who like I guess I got like through an auntie chat, like I got a text
Shout out to the
about,
auntie
like,
chats. Y'all do the
like found
Lord's
out about this
work.
thing. And who's it that's suing her?
The South African Jewish Board of Deputies.
What?
Yeah. So I have the law report.
Thank you for doing all the research on everything.
Got you.
As always.
So I don't want to say this girl's name or her Instagram handle in case it, it causes issues, because she is having to go to court for this. So I know the legal implications there. But I'm just going to talk about like what they are so upset about. So first of all, she posted on her Instagram, "We boycott because the only language they understand is money. They are driven by greed." And this was now anti-Semitic. How dare you call a colonizer greedy? Don't you know that colonizers have other things other than greed on their mind? It's not like colonialism is about stealing what isn't, yours.
So, like, what was the... Well, it's too early to kind of get a reaction, but what else did they say?
So, she also said that, "I wish the Iron Dome malfunctions." Go same. And it is malfunctioning. Don't even worry about it. Because when last did you hear about that Iron Dome working? All I've been hearing about is ballistic missiles flying towards Tel Aviv and nobody being able to stop it. All I've been hearing about is drones infiltrating into Haifa all the time. So, yeah, I don't know. It's definitely not working. Your two eyes have come through.
Yeah, she's... I'm definitely going to follow her and, like,
Yeah, for sure.
support her. Because, damn, bro, this is ridiculous.
So
essentially, what this means is that we all going to be censored.
No. That's not what it means at all. Because the South African Constitution is on our side always.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that this is the country that allows one settler, one bullet, and kill the boer to be said within.
Okay.
Within
So
that
is
free speech.
This isn't America, bro.
No, it's not America. We can say those. We can say those things because. And even when it comes to Zionism is a political ideology. It is not an ethnicity, a religion. It's not protected under hate speech. It's not.
Okay.
So this is not hate speech, even a little bit.
So people actually don't need to pop really about.
Yeah. We didn't even explain. So she's been charged with hate speech and for anti-Semitism. And let me just read the thing that they say over here. Jewish people, this is what they think she says. The posts imply that Jewish people should be exterminated, killed, or made extinct. That Jewish people and Jewish women in particular should be raped or otherwise sexually assaulted by Palestinian men. That's what they got from her saying you must boycott Cape Union Mart.
Classic.
Maybe with the hysteria of these people, it's so ridiculous. That Jewish people illicitly, by force and without consent, harvest organs, and that Jewish people and their businesses should be boycotted or made to suffer as revenge for the harm suffered by Palestinians. That's not hate speech, you dumb idiot. God, why are they so stupid? They don't even spell the word illicitly correctly. And on the point of harvesting organs, they literally do harvest organs. It's fine. I downloaded the report.
Oh no.
I'll read it for you. Don't even stress. I've read the report. The medical professionals found evidence of organ theft, including missing cochleas, corneas, as well as other vital organs like livers, kidneys, and hearts. The Israeli authorities have kept the Palestinian bodies in sub-zero conditions in order to ensure that they remain undisturbed and possibly to hide
Are you
evidence
saying
of
that
organ
they are
theft.
like stealing people's organs?
Yep, Myra Weiss, an Israeli doctor, disclosed in her book Over Their Dead Bodies that organs taken from dead Palestinians were utilized in medical research at Israeli universities and were transplanted into Jewish Israeli patients. Even more concerning are admissions by Yehuda Hess, the former director of Israel's Institute of Forensic Medicine, about the theft of human tissues, organs, skin from dead Palestinians over the period of time without their relatives' knowledge or consent. So it's not a blood libel.
Yeah.
Jewish Board of Deputies, you idiots. How are you going to waste your money like this going to the Equality Court in South Africa? That's so embarrassing. Like, don't you know anything about our country?
A waste of like our country's.
It's fine. Waste your money, ma. The other thing that they were very upset about is that she posted the like Middle Eastern food because she's like a cooking
She
thing.
makes like Middle Eastern. Like
Yeah.
Cape
So
Malay
she
food,
made
Middle
so she
Eastern
made
food.
like Middle Eastern food, and then she said a delicious act of resistance with inverted red triangles, which are widely recognized as symbolizing terrorist attacks. I didn't know blowing up Makava tanks was a terrorist attack. I didn't know targeting
Nah, man.
soldiers was a terrorist attack.
Is-
They're a bunch of nerds
But I mean,
now.
like they're reaching, like it's blatant reaching,
Yeah.
and but I don't know how like anyone can read that and not be like, that's a reach.
I would be embarrassed personally. I want like Zionists to think about how embarrassing, because I know the words like genocide and war criminal and baby killer, that doesn't affect you because you've dehumanized the other side to a degree that you don't consider anything that you're doing bad. The word genocide doesn't affect you because you don't think like, what? Who cares? Of course you can genocide these rats. You know, that's how they think. However, what they must maybe think about is like how nerdy and embarrassing they look all the time. You go into court because a girl posted about making food on her Instagram.
Yeah. I mean, like you get scared of a watermelon.
Like phone your mommy, you know? Like phone your mommy,
Oh.
talk to her, tell her that you love her, get the validation and love that you need. Instead of going to the equality court like this.
But
Because you're not
it's
going to get it
like,
there, bro. Like, it's not coming there.
It's like a baby who's like, no, this is my toy, but the toy
Yeah.
is like everything in the world.
Yeah.
No, everything in the world must be about me.
Yeah.
And like I'm.
We can't lose a soccer match. Nobody can post a triangle. Nobody. I saw someone lose their mind about a child's toy. It was like a pyramid norma with like all the
Yeah.
different color blocks, and the middle block was a red triangle. No, like, I can't even buy a child's toy anymore without terrorism. Like, grow up. Grow up.
You can't. You
Be brave. You know?
know that they're not gonna be brave, and they're gonna cry about everything.
But the other thing about watching those videos of them getting in their chops there in Amsterdam was seeing how unfamiliar they are with actual like force. They don't know what it's like to be told no. Like, there was also this other video of this Zionist brother taking a bat, running up to these pro-Palestinian protesters, and then they corner him, and he's lying there on the ground. His mouth is bleeding, and he's like, "No, I'm Israeli. Like, you don't even understand. I'm Israeli, and I'm just not used to this." It's like, okay, but now this is the real world, son.
I think I need to double check where Steven Pina is currently coaching. We might have a South African coach at Ajax.
Is it?
Like one of the.
That's wild.
Like, well, I'll double check it.
But so this
How do you think this ends, though? Actually, no, we can't. Like, it's
the thing is the equality court, if there is like a biased judge that rules in favor of the South African Jewish Board of Deputies, then it will go to the Constitutional Court and they'll overrule it 100%. Obviously, I've got my back on this. I just know that about him.
Yeah.
And also, I don't think that they'll win there either, because it will set like an insane precedent. So what, you can't post a red triangle on your Instagram story? That's hate speech.
That's absolute not. Like, I think, but I think, like,
Insane.
I don't know this person, but I think it's important that we do support whoever she is, like, right now. Like,
Yeah, I agree.
and like, we haven't spoken to her, but
Yeah.
like, maybe we should.
Yeah, I think so.
Like, because I mean, like, it's so weird. Like, it's not like she's literally speaking about this issue, and not even in like an extremely like radical way,
No,
but
maybe very normal comments.
through their softness,
Yeah.
she becomes a symbol of resistance.
One of the things, she posted an image of a Star of David being thrown in a rubbish bin.
It was probably an Israeli flag.
Yeah. How are you going to be losing your mind about this?
Nah, bruh.
How are you going to be losing your mind about this? People burn the Quran.
Yeah, like
And
this girl should not.
make
She should not
cartoons.
feel
Nah.
bad at all. She didn't do anything.
The other thing she posted was saying, Zionists say they cannot show evidence of the atrocities of the 7th of October. But then why do they have Holocaust museums around the world showing us gas chambers, ovens, and piles of bodies? And it's like, that, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's not like we don't know why they haven't shown us images of the atrocities. It's because the atrocities that they talk about never happened. There was no beheaded babies. There were no babies in an oven. There were no, mass rape. There was none of that stuff. So that's why they can't show us the images. They can show us images of a whole bunch of cars that were burnt from Apache helicopters, which Hamas didn't have, I didn't see an Apache helicopter with the paragliders. I unfortunately did not see that. But these people are nerdy and embarrassing. Like, I'm so tired of it.
Yeah.
You need to just, if you want to be these genocidal maniacs that are on TV talking about, kill all the Arabs and all of this nonsense all the time, you have the IDF doing all of this promo.
You gotta be a bit more.
So then take it when it's coming from the other side. I know that the resistance makes like really well edited videos and the triangles really have caught on and stuff, but you need to be brave about it. Why can't you just be brave? They don't want to. Also, this whole thing about like boycotting.
Soldiers got beat up by soccer gangsters.
I love that.
Like, what? This isn't like Green Street hooligans, bro. Like, it's like, anyway. Like, what the
Do you know
hell?
the next game is in Turkey?
Oh no. Oh no.
What's the name of that club? I can't remember now.
Yo, Usman. I don't know.
I'm not gonna remember.
Feyenoord, PSV, Eindhoven. I don't know.
It's but yeah, they're getting torn at there, so
my soccer team's
whatever.
not in the Champions League, so I haven't been watching.
And it's just weird to me that they get so touched about like any little. You say the smallest thing against them, they want to cry. They want to cry. They don't only want to cry, but they want to phone their mommy. They want to phone Benjamin Netanyahu. He must come fetch them. They had to send evacuation planes to come fetch them from Amsterdam. How are you going to get your ass beat like that? How? It's so not okay.
Is there a word for like Zionist, like soft people? Because like, isn't the creation of Zionism meant to be this like changing of the image of the like? What did that video say? Like the the image of the
the away from
stereotypical
being like
Jew,
the Jew that was victimized during the Holocaust to a
Yes.
strong Jew.
Yeah.
That would never be victimized ever again. But the problem is that was all ideology. It wasn't real. They never fought against
But,
anybody other
and
than women and children. They only ever committed massacres.
And the irony is that they like your whole identity is victim now.
Yeah.
Like,
You know, my papa used to do this thing where he would just if you like caught on nonsense, he would just look at you and then you go chunk, 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 and then you just start crying. Like you know what's coming, you might just cry. And I feel like if you had to do that to an Israeli, they'd say that was hate speech, that was anti-Semitism. If you say just cry, cry, they would say it's anti-Semitism.
You better watch out.
They like, Nasrullah always used to say like they are so weak. It's like a spider's web. You just blow on it and it'll collapse. And that's exactly what it is. It's weak.
Yo, miss it.
I miss that man.
Either way,
R.I.P.
anybody you wanna remind on donations?
Oh yes, donate. Link in bio.
Also, thank you to everyone who has.
Thank you to
donated.
everyone who has donated.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I got a message in the week actually that 45,000, I think, Egyptian pounds were donated to a family, or to families in Cairo. So
Yeet.
yeah,
Thank you.
good stuff.
All right, we're gonna pop out.
Yeah. As South African Jewish Board of Deputies says, this is only the beginning.